How do you handle all of this fear and uncertainty and worry and stress that is going on in our country and in the world at large right now? It's gonna be a much more chill video, hopefully give you some hope, give you some strategies on just being able to better manage your emotions and your feelings and your stress levels and your fear during these really unprecedented, well, it's not unprecedented. The world has seen this time and time and time again, but it has come to the United States where people thought that this would never happen. And of course, that was a silly idea. We're not that special. And honestly, we have created the causes and conditions. And how could this have not happened with our history and just all of the horrific things that we have enacted on other people? So first, let's talk about fear. One, fear is an emotion, and all emotions are neutral. There is not a good emotion. There is not a bad emotion. They are simply emotions. And emotions are a signal, right? They can be very helpful. For example, I've been fueling my content with anger, and anger is a very powerful, strong emotion. It gives me incredible energy, and it gives me incredible support, and it gives me courage, right? You know, kind of anger can kind of counteract fear in some way. Fear is a very helpful emotion. It keeps you alert, it keeps you aware, it can give you the energy and the drive and the motivation to plan and prepare, where if you didn't feel fear, you could like just go into the woods unprepared, right? Like people get a lot of fear when they think about doing a through hike, and that fear and that anxiety drives them to prepare and get prepared for the hike. And in a lot of ways, that's a good thing, right? So that's the first thing. Your fear is not a bad thing. Your fear is a signal that something is happening that you need to pay attention to. So the bad thing would be to let this fear overwhelm you. The bad thing would be to ignore the fear, push it away. What you need to do is acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the reality. And I think that's what I've been harping on so much, is so many people have their heads buried in the sand, maybe because they are scared, maybe because they don't want to feel the fear, right? But that doesn't help. Reality is reality. You're feeling fearful, you're feeling scared because the reality is we are in a very scary time, and shit is gonna get worse before it gets worse, and you better fucking acknowledge that. So what do you do when you actually feel the fear? You need to go into your body, and once you've practiced meditation Vipassana a lot, like I can feel my body right now, I can be in with my sensations as I walk through this rice field, as I talk to you, I'm still aware of it. But in the beginning, you might need to sit yourself in a quiet place, just in a chair, on the ground, on some cushions, and then just really, tune into the breath. So follow your breath, follow it for 2 minutes, do that. And then once you've followed the breath, now just bring your awareness into your body. Where do you feel the fear? For me, a lot of fear resides kind of in my stomach and in my chest area. It's kind of this kind of like fluttering type feeling. It might be some coldness in my extremities, a coldness in my neck. But yeah, just scan through your body, see what the actual sensation of fear is, and just feel that sensation, because that sensation is impermanent and that sensation is neutral. And that really helps you realize that it's your reaction, your reactivity to the sensation that is, that has that judgment element, and then that creates the second arrow effect of suffering and whatever else. So just being able to do that, being able to acknowledge the fear, feel it in your body, not react to it, like that's pretty much the whole practice. As you're able to spend time, sit with that fear in your body, you can notice that it changes and it will go, it will go away. It doesn't stay there forever. No one is in a fearful state 24 hours of the day. I notice I might get a spike of fear when I read something. Like I was reading something about naturalized citizens might be losing their citizenships, and I get like a spike of fear. When I got that email from CBP saying my trusted travel partners, that sent me into shock a little bit. I was like, holy shit, like, are they coming after me? Like, I don't know, who knows? But that all passed, right? I went to bed, I felt different the next morning. So noticing and understanding and just reminding yourself over and over and over again that whatever I'm feeling, no matter how strong it is, no matter how intense it is, this too shall pass. And that is, that acknowledgement right there helps alleviate so much suffering. So once you can acknowledge your fear, be in the present with it, sit with it, and give yourself time and space so that you're not reacting to it, then you can make a conscious decision and say, okay, how do I need to act? So it's not a reaction, and that's the problem. Strong emotions cause people often to react, and when you react, you are not making good, clear decisions. For example, in my case, I have the feelings of fear around my citizenship status. I have feelings of fear around retaliation by the government. So, I sat with those feelings. I didn't let that cause me to have crazy reactions. Now that I've been able to sit with it, think through it, now I can take, conscious, measured actions. So one, I'm not going to go back to the US anytime soon. I'm not gonna hand myself over to the Gestapo. You know, 2, now I'm planning new routes of citizenship so that I can get a citizenship in another country so I'm not reliant on my US citizenship in case I get denaturalized, right? That's the next piece. Once you can plan and you can act, that alleviates so much of this fear, because it's fear and anxiety really is this like unknown, like, oh, what's gonna happen? I don't know. So if you can, you know, study like, okay, this is what's happening and here's what I'm gonna do about it, that really, you know, now the fear has done its job. It has pointed the danger out to you, you have acknowledged it, and you're taking action. So the fear isn't necessary anymore. The final piece that really drives fear, anxiety, and worry are our attachments. And this has been a great lesson for me. This situation right now has shown me like, oh, I am still attached to a lot of things in this life, right? Like I am certainly not free of attachment. I'm attached to a world that is free. I'm attached to a US that is free of tyranny and free of dictatorships and free of authoritarianism, and where people can be free and safe. That's not unreasonable things to want, but that's still an attachment. And I am feeling this like conflict because I'm seeing the world is changing and I don't want it to change, right? But the world will always change. It will always change. And this too shall pass. Fascism always passes. Authoritarianism always passes. I don't know that we're gonna live to see the end of it. I hope so, but that might, you know, you don't know, and you have to make peace with that fact. I'm not gonna sit here and give you this bullshit platitudes about like, yeah, just let go of your need to live in a happy, free society and to be free from tyranny and to not worry about stormtroopers kicking down your doors at night. Just let go, bro, and be happy, and you'll be happy. Like, that's pretty unreasonable, right? It requires a lot of work to be able to have that level of attachment, but you need to be aware that this is where it's coming from, and you can slowly work on it and just remind yourself like, okay, I'm worried about losing my job, right? Or I'm worried about, I don't know, I'm worried about losing my citizenship. I'm worried about losing my ability to travel. I'm worried about my money, like the market crashing, all those things I'm attached to. And every time I can notice that worry, then I can work on it. I can remind myself, I'm not guaranteed any of these things regardless. They are all impermanent, and my clinging onto it in my body, in my mind, isn't gonna help anything. Again, I can, you know, take actions what I can. I've sold a lot of my investments because I think the market's gonna crash. And again, you take whatever actions that you can, and then you, again, just let go and understand this is just how the world works. Things always change. Nothing stays the same. Nothing in your life. There's nothing in this life that we will have forever, that we can hold on to, that we will cling on to. We will all face old age and sickness and death. Like, that is just part of life. And the more you can recognize your attachments are also driving your fear and your suffering, the more that you can be at peace. So that's what I've got for this video. I was intending to talk more about stress and worry too, but this is running kind of long. And yeah, if you're interested, let me know in the comments and I can make further videos like that. So go check local protests in your area. Check out 50501. There's a big nationwide protest going on April 5th. Don't miss out on that. Spread the word even if you can't be there. Sign up for notifications on my account. My account is starting to get throttled now. People aren't being shown my content. So sign up for notifications so you can be notified. And then if you can watch the whole thing all the way through, if you can share, please leave a comment. All of those things help. Super simple steps you can take that really helps amplify this message, that then helps spread the voice of resistance. In closing, everything will be okay in the end. We'll figure it out or we'll die. Either way, we won't have problems forever. All our problems will end at some point. You gotta stay strong, you gotta take care of your mind, take care of your body. You're no good to anybody if you are a wreck. So stay strong and resist.